What's good? It's your boy Fanon. It was a good night of fights. Enjoyed it. Gonna talk about the aftermath of the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker fight last night. For people that know, most people know, they fought. Anthony Joshua beat Joseph Parker and now he's the the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF heavyweight champion of the world. And you can also throw in the IBO as well. So, should be a good night for Anthony Joshua. Good accomplishment. Now he owns all of Tyson Fury's belts. And but the thing that really stood out was a couple things in this fight. And it pretty much went the way that I thought it was going to go. Now, before I do that, I'm going to ask you, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. During this fight, we had a really great live stream through the fight, and then after the fight, we did not and will not actually show the fight, but it's just fight fans watching the fight together, leaving their comments, talking about what's going on, joking back and forth about what they think is going on in the fight. Man, we had several thousand people in the live stream last night, so it was very, very fun and enjoyable experience. And so, but we do these on a regular basis, and the best way to know about them is to hit the bell icon so you can be notified when it happens. Now, as you can see here, man, it says, Parker, stop fighting back or I'm going to deduct a point. Now, that's clearly a joke from me, but still, it about summed it up, man. The prediction that I had for this fight came true. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision for Joseph Parker and for Anthony Joshua, and that he needed a knockout to win. I'd also said that if Anthony Joshua landed 3 punches in a row, that the referee was going to stop the fight. Now, that's because of what the referee did in the fight with Carlos Takam and Anthony Joshua. Now, there wasn't as much uproar about the referee in that fight as the referee in this fight, but clearly, either the UK refs, and I don't think this guy's name is Giuseppe, I'm not sure if he's from the UK or not, but clearly they're referees. The referees for the last 2 fights suck. And they are just absolutely positively in the bag. I mean, either they suck or they are in the bag for Anthony Joshua. Because every time it was so bad that you have on Showtime that you have the commentator, and I didn't hear it as clearly because I was talking on the live stream at the time, but then I went back and watched it and listened to the commentating. You actually have the commentator from Showtime saying, what the hell is he doing? Anthony Joshua and him, Anthony Joshua throws a 4-punch combination and misses, right? Misses a combination. Joseph Parker spins out, moves into the chest of Anthony Joshua, and then starts to try to go to the body. As soon as Joseph Parker got near enough to start throwing body punches, the ref jumps in and pushes him back. It was like the referee was a body protector or something for Anthony Joshua. And it was just a shameless and embarrassing performance for a referee. And I mean, I just was like, wow. I believed that if Anthony Joshua even looked a little bit like he hurt Joseph Parker, they were going to stop that fight. But he never did. Anthony Joshua looked very, very normal. I think he won the fight. Or put it this way, I could see it going one round one way or one round the other way. If it wasn't such a big event and there wasn't so much anticipation around the fight and so much hype leading into the fight and so much hype around him in the UK, and that was just 2 guys in a gym fighting and you didn't know who was who, I would have said I could have won either way. I don't think there was any particular rounds that anybody looked good in. Joseph Parker, I think I had him winning several rounds just off of his jab, because his jabs, his double jabs, sometimes triple jabs were the only things that landed. Anthony Joshua would come in, and then I'm not going to score when oh, and then the other thing about the break was, as soon as he broke him, Anthony Joshua, as soon as he saw the ref coming in, pushing him apart, he throws an uppercut. I saw him even try to grab the back of the head and hold cuff Joseph Parker around the head after a break and then throw an uppercut on the break. So it was like, it seemed to me like it was almost like a choreographed routine between the referee and Anthony Joshua. Now, it might have been the case that Anthony Joshua just kept noticing that he was coming in and breaking it up as soon as they got close to one another, right? And then he decided to throw the uppercut, but it was just a shameless performance by that referee, man. And I've never seen this. This is the first time I've ever seen this. I've never seen a fighter call their own timeout. Anthony Joshua was doing decent work. And I mean decent work, like maybe 1 out of 4 punches might graze Joseph Parker. And then in his hand, he had his tape coming off I saw his tape hanging for a couple rounds. And then he just walks off. It says, and stops, walks to the corner and with his tape and gets it retaped. How do fighters get to call their own timeouts in a fight? Man, but I expected this. And I said it. You can check my thing. I was like, look, man, the referee's going to be in the bag and the score. Now, I have my scorecard here. I'm not going to go through what I had, man, because honestly, I kept 2 scorecards in this fight. And you can go check the live stream that I did. I did 2 scorecards. One scorecard was what I thought was going to happen, and the other one was what the judges were going to score that round for. Because the criteria that I think those judges were going to have with all this pressure on them was if Anthony Joshua doesn't get knocked down, it's going to be a 10-9 round. It's going to be a 10-9 round if Anthony Joshua doesn't get knocked down. Period. It's just, that's going to happen. He could not have landed a punch. He's going to win a round just for standing there and being the guy that is paying everybody's check over there, or being responsible for the people that are coming to the fight. But this guy, now what the fighter said afterwards, like the reviews of it is, come on, man, you guys, I know you guys might like Anthony Joshua and you might be amped about him having these belts, but man, look, these are all Tyson Fury's belts. All 3 of those, all that means now is he's got Tyson Fury's belts. And the way that he looked last night, man, God dog, man, I'm trying to think of anybody I've ever seen get more favoritism in a ring than Anthony Joshua. I mean, I have a hard time believing that even Oscar De La Hoya, who used to get A1 top level treatment. I'm telling you, man, he got top level treatment. I've never seen him just take his own time out and walk to the right. Just stop. Hey, you guys stop for a second. I got to go get I got to wrap my hand. I've never heard of that, man. I've never seen that. But hey, there you go, man. It's the year 2018. We're gonna learn and see new things all the time. Like a champion. And Sky Sports, shout out to Sky Sports after the fight, though, because they pushed the question on Anthony Joshua. And Anthony, are you going to fight Deontay Wilder? Well, you see all these belts that I have behind me. Do you see all this stuff that I've done? What does it look like? I've got all these other belts. Don't you think that I want the belts? Hold on, man. That ain't the question, homeboy. That ain't the question. That ain't the question, Anthony Joshua. The question is, are you going to fight Deontay Wilder? I don't care if Deontay Wilder didn't have a belt. Are you going to fight Deontay Wilder? What if Deontay Wilder didn't have a belt and he just happens to be 40-0 with 39 knockouts and nobody, he's knocking out everybody and you have all the belts? The question still would remain. Are you going to fight him? Or are you going to fight him? And they said, well, I'll repeat what Dillian White said. Dillian White said, are these dudes buddies or something? He said, bring it on, Wilder, trying to crack jokes and all that. Nah, dog, I'm not believing you, man. And I believe what Tyson Fury said. Don't fight Deontay Wilder. Don't fight Deontay Wilder, man, if you want to keep that streak going. Because you're going to get knocked out, man. I hope you cats in the UK see this now. More than likely, this dude needs, he looked like he got 20 fights. He looks like he got 20 fights because I want to say he looked novice. He looks slow. He doesn't hit that hard. He does not have the type of power Deontay Wilder has, not remotely. And he goes straight back from punches. And, dog, I think I'm telling you, man, he's probably going to fight Povetkin next. I don't know how he's going to. I don't know if he's going to get past Povetkin. Just real talk. I don't understand. I don't know how he's going to get past. I don't know if he gets past Povetkin. This dude just doesn't look. I mean, he's just not that impressive. He had a very solid win against Vladimir Klitschko. Even Vladimir Klitschko put out something today where he said, "Look, I am. This is the first time out." He said he jumped out the bed today. He jumped out the bed in the morning and started throwing punches. Like, I might as well come out of retirement for this. Yo, I'll take that rematch because Vladimir Klitschko beat this dude, man. He should have went for the knockout last time. We wouldn't even have had all this headache, man. We wouldn't have had all this nonsense. But, y'all going to keep riding with him. Keep riding with him. There's one thing I do want to touch on, though, is that this says a lot about Anthony Joshua right here. And this is a statement that was made by Dillian White after the fight. Just listen to this. And this is out on Boxing Scene. Listen, AJ wants nothing more than me to go and fight Wilder and beat him. And for me and him to set up a rematch as both British world champions. White told Sky Sports. That's boxing history. That would be bigger than him fighting Wilder. That's proper history. 2 British fighters on British soil for all the world titles at once. That's pure history. I would like to fight AJ another 2 or 3 times over my career. I think it's one of those fights where we work hard, we'll always be motivated, and we always want to beat each other up. We just have that chemistry. Wilder has no interest in fighting White unless there's a contract clause that guarantees Joshua's the winner. Why does this dude want to fight with Dillian White so bad? Dillian White says Anthony Joshua wants nothing more than to fight me, and we want to do this here 3-4 times up here in Principality Stadium or Wembley Stadium, and we can just keep running it back and suck all the money we can, $20 a pop, 20 quid. I think 20 quid is like 20 pounds. Forgive me, you UK people. I'm not familiar. I always hear quid. I hear pounds. I think quid might be dollar versus a buck, right? So if you mean 20 pounds, then that's what he means. 20 pounds, for a ticket, and to see Dillian White and Anthony Joshua go back and forth with each other every other month. That's what Anthony Joshua wants. Anthony Joshua don't want Deontay Wilder. Don't want Deontay Wilder. And honestly, man, he's going to get dealt with Deontay Wilder. So maybe that's the best way to go about it. Before I saw this fight, I was still, even after Carlos Takam, I was like, okay, Carlos Takam, it was on 3 weeks' notice. Maybe he just didn't look very good in Carlos Takam fight because it was short notice and all that, right? But then we have this. And he don't punch that hard. He's a combination puncher. He's a mid-range combination puncher. And really, the best thing that he had, and the reason I think he won this fight against Joseph Parker is, and I think, honestly, just to be honest, I had the scorecard and I didn't want to say, because I definitely don't want to seem biased. If somebody, because I was more laughing at how bad he looked and just scoring the fight like, all right, I'm just going to give every round to Anthony Joshua. Unless he gets wobbled, which he did a couple times. He got wobbled by a body shot, and he got wobbled by an uppercut to the chest. God dog, man, what's this dude gonna do if Deontay Wilder hits him? But I had Anthony Joshua. I can see why people would say that Anthony Joshua won the fight. There are people that I had on the live stream afterwards when we covered the fight that believe that he won. So I'll just leave it at that. That this is a situation where Anthony Joshua could have won the fight, right? But the reason why, he was able to do whatever success he had, in my opinion, in this fight, had to do with his height. And the fact that he was taller and he was longer than Joseph Parker. And Joseph Parker, he couldn't create any opportunities off of his jab. Joseph Parker would double the jab, sometimes triple the jab, send the body upstairs, jab to the body, jab upstairs, and he would move. Dude could see Anthony Joshua's punches like a mile away. And that's why Anthony Joshua just couldn't land anything. And this is from a guy, honestly, man, does Anthony Joshua beat Huey Fury? I don't even think he beats Huey Fury. And I'm being real here, man. The Anthony Joshua last night fights Huey Fury. I think Huey Fury might beat him, man. In a fair fight. I'm not talking about one with a referee like this, where every time, the fight starts breaking off, or sometimes Anthony Joshua gets, he's going to call a timeout if Anthony Joshua gets hit in the face. But I don't know if I don't know if he beats Huey Fury. And I'm not joking. To me, that shit damn near is a 50-50 fight with Anthony Joshua and Tyson and Huey Fury. Let alone Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. Man, that's just a tough go, man. However, whatever amount of success that Anthony Joshua had to do with his reach, had to do with his length, and the fact that Joseph Parker, his jab wasn't long enough to get to him. So he would use some quick 2 steps straight back too. Right? I listened to Daryl Caldwell. I think his last name is Caldwell. If it's not Daryl Caldwell, it's Caldwell, a trainer out there in the UK, man, who was trying his best to be, to give Anthony Joshua credit. He was like, hey, he's got 3 belts. So, hey, man, so it's a good night. He got 3 belts. He won the fight. So, but hey, man, he's like, is he ready for Deontay Wilder? Maybe his footwork and stuff can keep him, where he can outbox Deontay Wilder. But the question is, can Deontay Wilder also knock him out? My answer to that question is hell yeah, Deontay Wilder can knock him out. Because Deontay Wilder got longer arms than him. And Deontay Wilder will jab straight through his guard. And I have a suspicion that Deontay Wilder might be stronger than him. Because he just didn't look that strong. He looked slow. He looked just slow as molasses. There's no other way to describe how he looks. He looks slow. Deontay Wilder's faster than Joseph Parker. And his jab, he's more awkward, so you don't know where that stuff's coming from. And you got Anthony Joshua getting wobbled by, man, he got not wobbled like hurt, but knocked off balance and looked like he took a little hop step off of an uppercut to the chest. It just doesn't look good for him, man. So I think after this fight, it's going to be even a longer period of time before this fight between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua happens, if it happens. And the way that Eddie Hearn looked after the end of that fight, man, like, hey, man, God doggone, who said that in the in our comment? I can't believe who it was. Maybe, I think it was the Boxing Clinic in Moore. Shout out to the Boxing Clinic in Moore. The Boxing Clinic in Moore said, hey, man, this dude Eddie Hearn looked like he looked at Anthony Joshua like he was like a father was pissed off at his son who came home with a D on his report card. Man, this is not some situation where they're confident, man. And then I listened to the press conference, man, and they were saying Eddie Hearn started talking about Deontay Wilder, and they had to talk about Deontay Wilder in these press conferences because shout out to Sky Sports, shout out to the media in the UK. They were asking these guys this question. They weren't ducking around. The media wasn't ducking around it. Not the press conference the pieces that I listened to. Now, admittedly, I listened to the ones where I knew he was going to talk about that subject, but they're there. They said, Eddie Hearn was like, look, it's just not fair for Deontay Wilder, for Anthony Joshua to do all this work to get all these belts. And Eddie Hearn and Deontay Wilder just, comes around at the end and just tries to snatch them all at the end. I'm like, man, really? That's it now? And even heard, Chamberlain Okoye say the same thing? And I know he fights out of Anthony Joshua's camp. That's his boy. I think Anthony Joshua might even be a co-promoter of him. Said the same thing, that how unfair it would be that Anthony Joshua gets to do all this work and then Deontay Wilder, is trying to sit off in the cut and then try to win them all at the end. Well, shoot, isn't that the truth with any boxer that fights Anthony Joshua? Anybody that fights Anthony Joshua fights for all 3 belts. So shoot, he's got 3 belts, but that's not just Deontay Wilder, that's anybody. If he fights Dillian White and Dillian White beats him, then Dillian White gets all 3 belts in one fight. That's just a corny ass excuse for why they don't want to fight Deontay Wilder. But now we see for sure why they don't want it, man. Now in the beginning of this month, I was like, okay, this is March Madness, in the heavyweight division. Last one in November, they fought at the same time, and you had Deontay Wilder knocking out Bermain Stavern in, was it 2 rounds? I think it was 1 round. It's basically this boom, 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 out of there. Legitimate, knocked cold, laid off to the side type of knockout. Then you get Anthony Joshua eking a TKO out over Carlos Takam because a referee called the fight when 3 punches in a row landed. Now this March, you have Deontay Wilder doing it against a higher level opposition in Luis Ortiz. And by the way, ain't nobody out there. Anthony Joshua ain't beating Luis Ortiz. He knocks out Luis Ortiz. This guy goes the distance with Joseph Parker, who's a good fighter, man, but it is what it is. We know what it is. Anyway, man, with that, I'm out. Peace.